For those of you who don't know who this is, unless you are a Philadelphia Eagles fan, this is A.J. Brown. He is the wide receiver for the team, and he had a very exceptional performance on this past Sunday's game, which was on October 30th, 2022. I don't know when this video is going to get up. As long as many of you know, I'm backed up as usual, but it is what it is. But he, like I said, he had a very exceptional performance. I'm going to go through that in the article. But then something random just happened because of his performance, and that is him being selected at random from a computer, quote unquote, to get drug tested. And I said, oh, here they go again. I know exactly what's coming down the pike when it comes to this, because it seems that this likes to happen a lot when it comes to black athletes, whether in football, basketball, and even some other sports such as tennis. Because if y'all don't remember, Serena Williams used to get drug tested a lot when she was playing in the world of tennis. Well, in the sport of tennis, as the world of tennis, in the sport of tennis. I'm not sure if they tested Tiger Woods, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because whenever black people perform at their peak level or at their top performance, it always has to, they always assume that it has to be some kind of drug enhancers that they're taking. Meanwhile, when it comes to the MLB alone, that particular sport, it's mind-boggling how many steroid injections probably flow through any of them players. I mean, back in the day, it used to be heavy controversy around heavy steroid use when it comes to people who played professional baseball. And as you know, many people in baseball are not black. I remember they used to do that with Barry Bonds a lot. I'm not sure if he tested positive or not. I think they got him at least one time, and they just kind of harped on it ever since. But when it comes to the MLB, it's definitely very evident that it is there. But how ironic, after he has a very stunning performance, that they say, you know what, we're going to test you, because there's no way you could have done all the things that you've done in this past game and you didn't have any type of enhancements. But like I said, they do that with a lot of black athletes, a lot, when they are at their peak performances. So I'm going to go ahead and read this article coming from CBSSports.com that was posted October 31st. Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown had a career day on Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The next morning, the NFL asked him to do a drug test, which are supposedly assigned at random. The key word there is supposedly. Brown didn't seem too sure about the randomness of the test and mentioned NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell in a tweet about the situation. I would have a drug test this morning, huh? LOL, Roger, and he put 4 R's after the, kind of like dragging his name out. This is not random at NFL, he wrote on Monday, and it's definitely not random. What is the irony? What is the coincidence that he gets this quote unquote random drug test after having a great performance the day before? It's not random. And they're going to go through his stats and you'll see what they're talking about. Brown registered 6 receptions, 156 yards, and 3 touchdowns to help lift his team to a 35-13 victory and continue an undefeated season with a 7-0 record. His receiving yards and touchdowns were career best for the 25-year-old star. And those numbers were not just impressive for his own stats. Brown became the first Eagles player with 3 receiving touchdowns, 25-plus yards in a game since Ben Hawkins in 1969. And the first player in the league as a whole since Brashad Perriman in 2019. The NFL's official policy on performance-enhancing substances, which was agreed on by the NFL Players Association and the NFL Management Council, states that each week during preseason and the regular season, 10 players from each club will be selected at random by a computer program. How ironic, AI, a computer program, selected him. And I wouldn't be surprised if his name was the first name to get picked. So in this case, Brown had to be one of the players selected at random. Brown is not the first player to raise an eyebrow at the randomness of the selections, though. Last season, Cleveland Browns defensive end Myles Garrett, who was also a black NFL player, joked about how he was drug tested twice after going sleeveless and said he might have to change his look. He got selected one more time shortly after that, which marked the third time through his team's first 7 games. Garrett then joked that the NFL was probably trying to quote unquote clone him. Now, he made light of it, but he probably wanted to say the same thing that AJ Brown was saying, or the rest of us are alluding to. How ironic that these drug tests seem to fall upon mostly a lot of the black players. I would like to see what this computer chose with the other players. Like, who were they? Because he's just one of 9. Who were the other 9 players? We know who makes up the bulk of the NFL. We know that. I would like to see who the other 9 were that got tested by the computer this week. Or not tested by the computer, who got picked at random, quote unquote, by the computer. That's what I'd like to know. Because something very suspicious is happening here. This is no coincidence here. It is very obvious that they feel because this guy had one of the best performances yesterday. Well, I'm recording this Monday. On Sunday, October 30th, and probably one of the best of the season, and probably one of the best of the last couple of seasons, that it just has to be something he took. It's never, when it comes to black people in athletics, for them, it's never that black people are just that great when it comes to athleticism. It has to be something else. Because, see, they have to put us down to prop themselves up. Why do you think they keep putting out mediocrity when it comes to athletics? To try to dumb down what it is that black people have going on. And this can go beyond athleticism and athletics. This can go into the entertainment industry, like music, acting, all of that. Just look at it. Even like I said, look at the music. Look at how music was so great back during our parents' and grandparents' time, and look at where it's at now. We know why it got dumbed down and watered down, because PC as a collective had a hard time keeping up. What PC person you know out there right now is out singing Whitney Houston, dead or alive? What PC person you know is out there performing or outperforming Michael Jackson, dead or alive? You see what I'm talking about? You see what I mean here? If you want to go to the realm of athletics, Michael Jordan. I know some of y'all don't like it, but I have to use him as an example. I can imagine how many times they were trying to drug test him. We'll use Serena Williams when it comes to tennis. I already told you they drug tested her so many times. I think her and her sister, but I think her more so than anything. Because for them, it's just no way that black people can perform at their highest or even at their best. I think they even tried to, or maybe they did do that kind of shady stuff with Simone Biles. We know, with her being a peak gymnast. So you see where it is right there. They never believe that black people can just perform when it comes to something like this. I don't know. Maybe it's something in the genetics. After all, our ancestors, for those of us who are FBA, worked the land for 400 plus years, skin and bone. It made us stronger, and that genetically carried on for generations. The bone density in black people is way different than it is in other groups. Way different. So our structure and our molecular levels are very, very different and strong. And this is documented by science. For those out there who don't believe in science, because, you know, nowadays people are trying to go against it. So it would make sense that we are able to maneuver in a way that some others aren't. Why do you think when it comes to track and field, even in the Olympics, it's always a black person winning, whether they are here in the States or abroad? It's usually always down to 2 groups anyway, the Jamaicans and the Americans. And it's usually always a black person, whether it's men or women, who are winning in both of, you know, in those categories between those 2 groups for the most part. So what is that telling you? But they always have to make sure, they try to see if there's something that we took. No, it's nothing that we took. It's the melanin. Hate on it. or love it. I mean, we love it. I know they hate on it, but we love it over here. After all, I guess our genetics would be weak if we sat on our ass for 400 plus years, because there's no skill in sitting on your ass and watching others build the land. So with that being said, they definitely trying to railroad AJ Brown with this drug test. And the thing is, they got him cornered, because if he doesn't do it, then that's almost like for them an admission of guilt. Or they'll say, well, if you don't want to take the drug test because it's a part of your contract, we can either cut some of your pay or you're not going to play in the next game, which I'm sure they wish they could do both. And I'm willing to bet they're not going to find anything in not one of those drug tests. Now, if he performs again like he did, then they're probably going to try to say you need to test him again. And they're going to say, oh, the computer picked him. No, somebody programmed that computer to pick him. This was not a random selection. In my opinion, it wasn't a random selection. The computer chose him, but someone chose to put him there and said the computer did it.